do it.
What's up, everybody? On another episode of The Naked Raw Truth. Guys, today, I'm here alone. Sorry about that. Let's start it over. We're going to cut down that. What's up, everybody? This is your friend Efrain Escudero. Hey, guys. Today, I'm pretty much running it. Me, I got a special guest, and I got Jesus in the back. A couple of their guys. One of them is working. Other one has a sick daughter. And Tucker's MIA. I have no idea where you're at, Tucker. So, we need you in here. Keep coming in. You're part of us, right? So, guys, what did you guys think about last week's episode? Obviously, we wanted to take care of one of ours. I always told myself, I want to help. I want to give back to the community. I want to give back to those who are by my side. And what best and other than to take care of one of our own. Tyler, once again, I know you still don't believe it because you still haven't rode the motorcycle, but I kind of feel kind of starstruck a little bit on your reaction. I love it. Run with it. Keep doing what you're doing. If you never need anything, know that I'm here. When I offer my loyalty and my respect to everybody, I really mean it, guys. So. We've been talking about who's everybody. First of all, Jesus, you're in the back. What's up? How are you doing, Jesus?
What up?
I mean, how are you doing?
I'm doing perfectly fine.
You're perfectly fine. All right. So, obviously he is the man that the myth. Everybody wants to know who Jesus is, but you guys will not know who he is. Guys, I wanted to touch a base today, and the base is called "Who is Efrain?" Obviously, all of you guys know who I am. Everybody, you can go right now and Google my name, and you can say, okay, I think I know that guy. But one of the biggest things that you guys don't know is you guys don't know who the real person is. There was a time in my life where I had it all, and then I lost it all. That in itself can be very, very dangerous for a lot of people. Everybody will sit here and tell me, what do you do during those dark moments? To me, my biggest and hardest drug that ever affected me was fame. Fame was the biggest and more addicting drug that anybody can have in this world. You have everything at the tip of your fingers. Nothing becomes out of reach. You probably know somebody that knows somebody that can know that person. If you want to meet somebody, if you want to drive a special car, if you want to go to a special club, if you want to go to a special, everything becomes very easy when you have fame. And then at one point in my life, they took it all away. Not really the fame, but everything behind the fame. The money, the fights, the sponsors, everything. Once that came back, my lifestyle kind of went down, right? You start calling your friends during that time. And my friends at that time were like my withdrawals. You know how somebody goes through a withdrawal? Somebody wants that craving. Well, my withdrawal was people withdrawing from me. I would do, I'm gonna say it because this is a naked raw truth. I would do dumb shit expecting a different outcome. I thought the whole world was against me and I would kick myself in the balls. So, but one of the biggest things that I took from that, now that I got myself out of the gutter, now that I was in many, many, many streets, walking that empty path, I made friends there. I felt so comfortable in that loneliness that it became an addiction. I wanted to be there. I want to be alone. Sometimes I want to just kind of lock myself in my room, but that is unhealthy, guys. So for all of you guys that are going through something, I know it's so hard to say it. We say talk to somebody, but make sure you talk to the right person. Make sure everybody says communicate, speak about it, learn how to communicate. Learn what are you communicating about? Because I did it. I communicated and I felt like I was oversharing. I felt like I was giving people ammunition to use it against me. So guys, take it one day at a time. Find the right people, surround yourself with the right people, and remember, I said it the first time, and the guys keep making fun of me. But I'm going to say it again. The Titanic didn't sink because of the water around it. The Titanic sank because of the water that got in it. So do not allow yourself to go into this world with all this negativity going around. Control what you can control. So let me take you a little bit back, guys. Everybody knows me to be a father. Everybody knows me to be a fighter, but nobody knows the really dark side about me. This is the naked raw truth. Right now, I work at a place a homeless shelter, where I see people that are one no from saying, fuck everything. I'd rather be in jail. I see it on a daily basis. And that's why I can relate to a lot of people. Because at one point in my life, I was at that fuck it mentality. I didn't care. The only thing that kept me sane was my children. The only thing that kept me focused was knowing that my children loved me. So how can somebody go from having everything in this world, being a young, hopeless dreamer, no Christmas? I was the kind of kid that for Christmas, I would receive socks and shirts and underwear. That's what my Christmas presents were. Things that I actually needed. So how do you go from that? Build yourself to being the first Mexican-born fighter to ever have a UFC contract. How many times did I hear, you can't do it, or you ain't got the guts? Or how many times did I hear, don't fight, but it was a dream? And like in our last episode, Rafa said, how do you believe so much in a dream? In a dream that you can't touch. It ain't physical. Like right now I have a phone. I can touch a phone. I can't touch a dream. I can't touch a feeling. I have a feeling that it's going to pay off in the long run, but I can't touch it. So my faith in my own fighting was that big. And sure enough, I broke records. I have the most fights in less time in Arizona. I'm the first Mexican-born fighter to ever have a UFC contract. I've traveled the whole world, but I've also cried myself to sleep. I also doubted myself more times than anybody can imagine. I told myself, I am going to get knocked out in front of people. Why are you doing this? I doubted myself every single time, including on the way here right now. I was like, am I ready to share my story? Am I ready to tell everybody the raw truth about who Efrain is? So I might be holding back a little bit, but it's true, guys. I want to tell everybody, guys, at one point in my life, I was doing things that you shouldn't do, and it's okay. I forgave myself for that. I don't gotta ask for forgiveness on anybody else, but I forgive myself because it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that I felt lonely. It wasn't my fault because I didn't play my cards right. I had those people around me. I just chose not to go around. I chose to not look in that direction. I had right people around me the whole time. I have my buddy Steve. Steve is like a brother to me. I remember. So I'm gonna tell you guys. Remember, I'm telling you guys, I'm holding back because I have a special guest I want to bring into you, and talk a little bit to him. So, who is Efrain? I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a story. Who is Efrain? It was December 30th, 2020. Yeah. I was already home sleeping. At the time, a girl gives me a call and says, "Hey, come over." It's past 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, up. I decided to say, you know what? I'm gonna jump on this. I get in the car. I drive. I start driving. I asked for the address later. I just thought she lived in the Tempe area. So I started heading in that direction. Little did I know it was in Fountain Hills. That's almost an hour away from me. I drive all the way to this location. She gets in the car, less than a minute, she says, "Nah, I gotta go." So I tell her, you know what? I'm not about this. So all of a sudden I start driving back, get pulled over. Some things happen, but I I got charged with resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, assault on a police officer, and a DUI. Major charges. This was December 30th, 2020. The first call that I made is to the man that I'm gonna bring in here shortly. I made the first call because I knew I didn't do nothing wrong at that time. I was questioning. I was not in my right mind, but I knew something was up. Next thing you know, I'm in my first day of court. So I get out, first day of court. My first plea was 5 to 7 years. Guys, once again, let me tell you, you guys Google my name. You guys know who I am as a fighter. This is a young, hopeless kid coming in. And now I'm facing 5 to 7 years. My first plea. What do you think I did? God, man. I was, for one mistake, one night. So remember, everybody that's out there, one night can change your life forever, guys. So be very careful. Think before you act. Like, as bad as it sounds, even to me this day, I have moments in my life where I'm like, I can't. But one of the biggest things is relax, think about the big picture. So they gave me, my first plea was 5 to 7. My buddy Steve and his wife were there with me. Nobody else. I was so sad. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I start counting my daughter's age. So I'm like, so when I get out, my daughter will be this much, my son will be this old. And then all of a sudden I break. I'm like, man, there's gotta be something. There's gotta be something. I got big thanks to absolutely everybody, from ex-governor to all law enforcement individuals, people, friends, and even to my baby mama for all these character letters that they did for me that paid out significant, because I ended up pleading guilty to a disorderly conduct, and I got 121 days in jail. Guys, when I went to jail wasn't my ground zero. That was my ground zero. If I look back in life and I look back, like, what don't I ever want to feel again, was that night, December 30th, that changed my life forever. I went to jail. Being in jail was kind of, at first it was surreal. It was like, what am I doing here? Guys, remember, let me take you guys back where I told you guys I was a young, hopeless kid. Now I had won the Ultimate Fighter, and now I'm sitting in a jail cell, and I'm like, what happened? But then I thought about it. I've been on the Ultimate Fighter house. I don't know, you guys all saw the Ultimate Fighter. You know how much testosterone is in that house. You know what we do in that house. We actually fight. So jail was nothing. But I learned a lot, and one of the biggest things that I've learned when I was in jail was, you got to go back to basics. Basics is the respect. Like, if you talk to somebody, the way you carry yourself, you do your bed. Man, these criminals and these guys in jail, they go off of respect for everything, and you cannot disrespect them. Like, it was crazy. I don't want to say too much on that aspect, but man, my respects to those guys. One bad night changed it for me, and I stand here today thanks to everybody out there that still believed in me, and all those people that came out and helped me. The Naked Raw Truth is here to provide a platform for all you people, everybody out there that's suffering, who's hurting, who's, lost somebody due to like an illness or just old age, anything. We are here to tell you it's going to be okay. That's the cycle of life, guys. We were born, we live, and we die. Like, don't count down the time. Make time count. It is okay to make mistakes. Learn from those mistakes. Make 150,000 mistakes. Just learn and make sure you don't do the same mistake twice, because the moment you do the same mistake twice, it's no longer a mistake, it's a habit, guys. So, to everybody, I know everybody on campus. I know absolutely everybody on campus and everywhere I go. they see us and they talk to us about this podcast. Remember, guys, everybody that we deal with on an every single day basis, they feel that the world is against them. So join me, like all these guys, that we try to help them. We try to be that voice, because there's not enough mentors, there's not enough psychologists, there's not enough a lot of people to help. So with the security and the staff and everybody out there, we can do a little bit. We can change a little bit of the perspective of everybody that goes in there. There's some people in there that have done mistakes, and they still are there, and I can see it, and I'm pretty sure you can see them too, that they don't belong there. You're like, man, why are you here? I see it. Day one, by the way, hold on. Day one, when I first got to campus, Jesus actually gave me a tour of the campus. I want to congratulate Jesus on his big promotion. He actually just got promoted. I'm one of those, I want to see my boys shine. I want to see people shine, because there is no time for jealousy. There is no time for anything, because there's enough for everybody. Everybody can eat, especially at my table. Everybody can eat. So, congratulations, Jesus.
Thank you.
And to everybody else, guys, to the campus staff, to everybody that you guys are watching, just keep in mind, we are trying to help these people. I feel like I'm doing something every single day I show up to work. Some of these guys, when I miss work, the actual campus people, the clients, will go up to me and be like, "Oh, we missed you yesterday." So we're building that bond. So, guys, I slept in a villa in Las Vegas on the Las Vegas Strip. I've been to Paris. I've been to London, Spain. I've been all over the world, but I also have been in the county here on 35th. Some of the darkest moments and more I remember most of every night that I was there. Getting to jail the first day, circling, they give you a paper map, paper calendar, telling you this is the day you're in, and then looking at the day you get out, it seems, oh my God, and you're locked up in a little cell. It's crazy. But just remember, guys, take it one day at a time. Think before you act. Is it worth it? And we all feel that sometimes we're alone, but we're not alone. So I want to bring in a special guest today. During those times that I told you that I was in my darkest moments, he was actually one of the guys in the background. He never said anything, but I knew he was there. So, Jose, please welcome. I want to welcome Jose Orozco. So, Jose Orozco, he is... What's up, boss? So, Jose Orozco hired me as a security guard 6 years ago. Like, it was...
5 years ago.
Like 5 years ago. He hired me. He was my first boss for the first time ever. So I was working in the oil fields for the longest time, from 2008 to 2016. I never had a job. All I did was I just fought. So it was the gym and hanging out at home. And then all of a sudden, custody battle, decisions, no more fighting. And then I went and applied for an oil field position. So I went down to Texas. I came back. I found, during that time, you had a girl by the name of Audrey?
Yeah,
Audrey. So Audrey was very adamant, because I didn't have a guard card. I didn't even know how to even get a guard card. So they pretty much held my hand, made me go to this class, and then all of a sudden I started working with them. So, Jose, why don't you tell everybody who is Jose and what does Jose do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the invite, Efrain. It's very important. Congratulations on your promotion. And congratulations on your podcast. I think this is wonderful for you. A step forward into a stardom. You don't know where you said it earlier. You don't know where you're going to take yourself, but the people that are surrounding you is so important. I'm Jose Orozco. I'm owner or CEO of Affinium Security Protection. Been doing security for about 36 years now. And I by all means, I remember the time that you came aboard, and I was so excited to have you, because who hires a season 8 champion into your company, and you're just trying to not be awestruck, like you were, to me, very, very famous. I held you, and still hold you this pedestal of a champion by nature. And I think, when it comes to how you identified a little while ago, introducing yourself and knowing who and where you're going is the biggest step, is the biggest cue in your life, is have a dream and set it forward. But I started Affinium Security it was April 21st, I think, of 2018 is when I actually had the physical license, and just started pushing. Started one guy, 2, 3, 10, 15, ended up with about 102 guards eventually. And you were with me when I got my first vehicle. It was a Dodge Charger with Eddie Quesada. We went to California to go pick that car up, and he towed it all the way to Phoenix, and we just started from there. 1, 2, 3 accounts. And
yeah, so I noticed right now with the whole. I mean, you helped a lot of people. You helped even Dave. Dave is owner and CEO of Delta. Mm-hmm. So you actually helped him too. Eddie Quesada. You've helped myself. So many people. So Jose, why a security company?
Security is a passion. It's just like everything else, like your boxing and your MMA. You kind of find a passion, something that moves you, and something that you kind of it is you. We're in that topic of you, and since I was little, I guess I've always wanted to defend somebody and protect and keep the people that I know as safe as possible. And it just kept on going. I started doing security at about 17 and a half years old for my brother-in-law at a soccer tournament, because he couldn't do a soccer tournament without security. And it just progressed. It progressed into my first company, which was Sentinel, and that was in like 2001, and that lasted till 2010. And it's me, it's who I am. I like to protect and defend. I like to serve. You said community. I'm in for community. I'm into helping the next guy and helping the residents, or helping businesses to be safe and learn different measures of protection. I mean, that's who I am. I think you feel the same way about your boxing and your MMA, and now you're carrying yourself into other dynamics. I mean, this is you. This is who you are.
So one of the biggest things that we do here in the Naked Raw Truth is we don't like to hold back. So this is the Naked Raw Truth. I want to know. This is. Everybody out there can probably learn something from us, right? So
yes.
we're creating a platform here that where people can feel safe and know, hey, you're human too. Like example, a lot of people that don't know me would say, oh, he's always helping, he's always being that extra guy that's always doing that extra push. But nobody knows the dark nights. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows like those moments where I'm like, I can't do it no more. Mm-hmm. Where I'm trying to, but because I've given that persona that I'm like, I'm a go. Like you call me, I'm going. Like, how do you attribute that to like everything that you do? I mean, obviously, I seen that firsthand. Remember, this is Naked Raw Truth. You have no family life. Yeah. At one point, why?
You of all people should and have lived this is the sacrifice. You've sacrificed your body. I'm sure Jesse's, his time and his energy. Jesus.
He looks like a Jesse. He does look like a Jesse, yeah.
Same name if you go to the Greek text, Jesus. You have to sacrifice. There's no way around it. If you're not sacrificing time, if you're not sacrificing energy, if you're not sacrificing something in your life that you want or that's steady or stable, then you're not focusing on what's going to push you forward. And that sacrifices your time and energy and everything else, helping people like you mentioned, and being there and being available and being, it's good to be surrounded. I credit a lot of my energies because of my wife. My wife is like a robot, constantly pushing and going, and because the way she is, she pushes me into being a little bit better, telling me how to dress and how to. I put this together. My wife didn't have anything to do with it, but a lot of the energy that we push forward, my wife, Angelica, She's the backbone of what we, like we created and did this together. But the sacrifice part is, there was times I didn't sleep. There was times where I was sleeping in my car in between one account to the next account. If I, did one account from 8 in the morning till 10 at night, I'd sleep 2-3 hours. And if we picked up another account, I did that account. If I didn't have the people, I was there. And then worked that, sometimes just change my socks and go do that next shift.
So every entrepreneur that's out there that's trying to become their own worker, their own boss. In our last episode, we had Rafa, CEO of Pause. He pretty much said he had one van. He had one van when he first started his company, fixed up the van. He looked up his old uniform for firefighting, fixed it all up, just that. He presented himself as a professional, but he was in his living room, 1-bedroom apartment. When he showed up, you saw him. So one of the biggest things that I've seen from you is, and I've seen it firsthand, but you say it right now, you would go from job to job. Now you're having back problems.
Yeah.
Now you're having major issues that are catching up to you.
Absolutely.
Because of the sacrifice that you did. I mean, what is the big picture? What is Jose's big picture? Like, I mean, obviously you've helped a lot of us. We want to know, where's that vision? Is that vision still there?
Absolutely. Everything that I do is based on helping somebody develop something or create something that I feel that person should be creating. It's definitely, my end goal is have time and money, more than anything time. If it's not money, at least time. And I say time to be able to live a quality life or a different lifestyle than just working all the time. And it's slowing down for me as far as, working a post or being at the office. Sometimes you develop the skill of bringing in people that are part of your team, like Jesus, and the rest of your team. I've seen your podcast, and it's amazing to have those people around you. But if you find the key people that will help you push your company, have that same dream, the same goals, or you push them into having those same, it develops. You develop the team that's going to help produce and go and control a lot of that thing. So you don't necessarily have to do it yourself, but you find the people like David and Eddie who help grow my company and be there and learn also that I could do that myself and impulse that, push that forward and be like, hey, go do that. It's a very good idea. And anyone, and you can ask all my employees, when they say, I want to do my own company, yeah, let me help you. And I'll start them off on get the name, get your dream, get all that, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
You have to have a dream and push the dream.
So that's good that you mentioned Dave and Eddie. I just want to do it. This is the naked raw truth, guys. You guys can't hold this thing. You can't hold this. This is my sacred place, so you guys cannot hold it against me. But screw both of you guys. The first time I ever started working at Affinium, Dave and Eddie, you guys put me at the worst location, 27th and McDowell, 19th and McDowell.
No, it's 27th.
It's 27th?
27th.
And it was 8 o'clock to 4 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Literally, you gave me Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. Nobody wants those days off. And then, and then also, you put me there unarmed. And, oh man, I was there for 8 months. It's $13 an hour.
Yeah, it was. 13.
It was like 13. I never said anything. I didn't complain. I did it. But now that I have a platform, Eddie, Dave, screw both of you guys. You guys did me dirty on that one. But yeah. So going back to your story, that's good that you mentioned the whole. You have to have a vision. So one of the biggest things that I see from Jose, and I've learned from him as the years have gone by, is he has this shot, like as soon as this board, you walk in his office, there's this big white board, and when he speaks to you, he draws it. He's talking and visual, or everything you do, he always puts a visual on you. So I started doing that for myself. So I pretty much, during my darkest moments, during the times that I was, guys, okay, here's a naked raw truth, right? So I would do drugs, and I would be stupid because I wasn't the guy that do drugs and go out there and party and go and do this. I would do drugs and I would sit in my desk, like in a chair, in my table, and just write and write and write my story. I have a book. I told you guys in the first episode. I have a book all written. Eventually, I will publish it. I put pictures. I put everything. Talk about my childhood. That's what I would. That's what I would do. So then one day, I probably like, it was like White Dream or something because I don't know what it was, but I did something, and it opened my eyes and made me think. Okay, instead of writing, I said, why am I doing this? So why am I doing this? So I went on a little rabbit hole. I wanted to figure out why. Well, it's not because I want to go party. It's not because I'm looking for a girl. It's not because I don't. So I'm like, okay, so what? So I went on this little rabbit hole. And then I found the keyhole. For me was, I was lonely. At one point in my life, I had everybody. I called my friends. Everybody was there. And then I would call people, and everybody was not busy. And two, we get older. As we get older, nobody's want to go to the club no more. Nobody wants to go out and party. People got jobs. People got families. So then I kind of was like, okay, so what am I missing? What is the key factor? So I was a little depressed in my own way. So I told myself, okay, this is my problem. The drugs is not a problem. That's what I use as a solution. So then I thought, okay, so found the problem. So let's make sure we never feel this way. How do we not? And then all of a sudden, I started overloading myself on work. I started a podcast. Jesus gave me a task and said, okay, we need all these mics. And I was like, okay. And then I stressed for 2 weeks straight, not knowing which mics, even though he gave me the link for the mics. And I was still stressing, like, how am I going to get this? Because then it became real. Everybody has a dream until they put a price tag on it, right?
I think so.
How many of us have gone to the restaurant and you said to yourself, you want quality of life? You go to a restaurant and you look at the menu from right to left. You start making deals with yourself. You start telling yourself, okay, maybe this is what I want. This is what I really want, but this is what I can afford. I don't feel that steak. Nah, I don't want that cut of meat. Nah, I don't need veggies. Nah, I'll take spaghetti or whatever. But then that became like an excuse for everything about life to me. And I go to YouTube for self-motivation, and I see all these big-time celebrities that say, you know what? If you want that vacation, take that vacation. If you want that clothes, that shirt, buy that shirt. I have a buddy of mine, Rafa, has a McLaren parked right outside. Right now, I'm looking at a McLaren.
Beautiful car.
All he's doing is just reminding themselves, hard work pays off. Like, you're not buying. I had the wrong mentality at one point. I said, I want to be rich. Why? Why do you want to be rich? Oh, I didn't know my why. My why is quality of life. So I just covered a lot right there with what I just told you. Guys, quality of life is what Jose is looking for. He wants that time. He's buying that time. You got to sacrifice something to get there. Now, do you really need that car? No, but you're going to get it. And I remember this one time I told Jose, I said, we were doing a security for all these wholesalers. And they pulled up in it was a Lamborghini SUV, a yellow. And I was like, oh my God, that's the car I want. But it's like $400,000. And I remember you told me something don't think about it like that. Like, once you're making that much, it's not as bad. So don't think about it like, oh, it's way up there, because maybe to me, $100, $200 is a lot, but to somebody it's nothing. And there is people out there with $100 that's nothing. So, yeah. Guys, the vision. Remember the board I told you guys. I learned it from him. So always have a vision. So this is what I did during those darkened moments that I was there, suffering, hurting, and I was like kicking myself in the groin because I was alone doing drugs. I got a USA map, and I told myself, okay, cool, pick anywhere. I don't care anywhere. So I said Lincoln, Nebraska. Boom, I put Lincoln, Nebraska, and then I said, what do I want from life? Literally, guys, if you guys that are watching this, just try this right now with me. Find it, figure it out, do it, okay? So I said Lincoln, Nebraska. So then Lincoln, Nebraska, I don't know where it is. Like, I know where it is on the map, but I don't know how to get there. If you tell me right now from Phoenix, drive to Lincoln, Nebraska, I have no idea. I got to GPS it. So then I told myself, okay, cool, Lincoln, Nebraska, boom. That's where your $1 million dream is at. Because that's what I want. I look at my bank account, I want to see $1 million in my bank account. So I said, okay, cool. So I put that in Lincoln, Nebraska. So now, if you were to tell me right now how to get to Lincoln, Nebraska, what's the first thing I'm going to do? What is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to GPS it, right? You're going to map it. Okay. So you're going to map it. So you're going to game plan. That's your game plan. That's your writing. That's your strategy. That's everybody, no matter what you do in life. First, you got to know the vision. What do you want? You're not going to college just to go to college. You're going because you know you're going to get a degree. You don't dabble. You go to first grade, all the way to 12 because you're going to get a high school diploma. There's no sense about it. You know what the vision is. So then, to me, I lost that vision at one point. I was in Portland, Oregon saying, am I in Lincoln, Nebraska? No. And then I was like in Washington, D.C., and I'm like, oh, I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska? Like, no, because that's not what I wanted in life. Yeah. So it's some of you young men out there are saying, I want a family, but every week you're at the club? Come on, man.
It's got to be congruency.
Yeah, so to me, I said, okay, this is what I want. And it wasn't until I sat down with myself, I signed the contract, and I learned this from Kobe Bryant. Like, my contract is signed, sealed, discussions, back and forth negotiations, it's over. Like, I already agreed to it. It's already, contracts. Yep. Like, it's already signed, sealed, dealed, mailed, everything. There's no more. Like, I decided already. 2024 was my year of accountability. I'm making it happen. But it's not saying that it's easy. I still struggle. I still don't know how to do things. But now I use my resources, the people around me. So, Lincoln, Nebraska, right? I put out a game plan, and then I create 3 roads. There's one straight road, straight shot. Just focus, nothing else bothers you. It's there. Kind of has a speed limit a little bit. You never know. There's bumps in the road. And then you have we're going to call it, because we're in Phoenix, we're going to call it a needs 101 and a wants 101. What do you need in life? You need gas. That means you need family. So I interpreted life to be like kids, my family. I need them to be good. So I need to feed them. I need to feed my persona and theirs. I'm creating little people now. I got to teach them. Like, I'm trying to teach and help you guys understand that it's okay to make mistakes. You just got to keep going. You got to keep going. My son falls from his bike. I don't go and pick him up. I watch him, observe him, allow him to get up from his bike. Now, if he's really injured, I do go out there. Am I worried a little bit? Yeah, but I just want to make sure that he knows that when he falls, he can get back up. So that in itself, so let's say I'm in a relationship, right? I'm in a relationship. Relationships don't work. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. And then when they don't, it's okay. But sometimes some of us, including, I know I've done it in the past, I'm pretty sure you've done it in the past, where Jesus, or some of us have allowed a relationship to deviate our dreams, our goals, and we just sabotage ourselves. We do something stupid that it gets us into more problems, and then more and more and more. And instead of going forward to Lincoln, Nebraska, we end up in Mexico, and we cross the border. You start hanging around with people you shouldn't hang around with. Not saying that Mexicans, you shouldn't hang around with Mexicans, but the biggest thing is you got to understand. You got to understand that if that doesn't go, you're still on the road. You can't jump off the car. You're still on a one-way street. You're on a one-way street to your goals. And if you're struggling, you're car gets repoed. Well, you got to do some changes, right? You get fired. Oh, now your goal is you're not advancing your goal. So stop for a pit stop, figure out what's going on, fix it, and you keep going.
Yeah, keep moving forward.
Yeah. So don't allow yourself to deviate from those plans. So remember, guys, try it on your own. Pick anywhere on the map. And then every time I remind myself, when I don't want to wake up in the morning, for reals, I'll tell you this, every morning when I'm like at 5 in the morning, I'm like, I got to go to work. I say Lincoln, Nebraska. I tell myself constantly. Why? Because Lincoln, Nebraska now has my direction. No matter if I'm tired, no matter if I'm sore, no matter if I'm injured, no matter, like Jesus had to tell me a couple weeks ago, my foot is swollen from my fight. Like I'm walking everywhere. I'm still running. But you know what? One of the biggest things that I did is I kept a girl alive, giving compressions because she had OD'd. That to me was worth it, going to work with swollen knees, like swollen feet. But Jesus was just like, you got to take some time off. So that's good that you touched on that, Jose, because one of the biggest things that I've always learned is you have a vision, you write it, you like to teach people, and I guess this is why we have a great relationship, because you're not a boss, you're a leader. So a boss will tell you what to do, a leader will tell you, will show you how to do it.
Show you.
Yeah. So now, moving on, let's Naked Raw Truth, guys. Every time I say Naked Raw Truth, that means I'm giving you guys something. Jose, this is just on a personal basis. Why did you take a gamble on me? I had lost everything. I was on a one-way street. I was facing major jail time. Why? Why would you gamble on me?
It's not the outside that you look at. I don't look at the outside of a person. I always look at the inside and try to figure out what that person could use to be better. I did not know like you mentioned earlier in the podcast, was the person we don't know, the person we don't see, all the problems that you're having, depression and whatever else you were dealing with as a person. All I saw was the outer part, in part, meaning not your bads, the possibilities. Just like with David, just with Audrey and everything else in my life, I don't look at the person's outside, I look at the person's inside, and see if I can help them shape a forward progress. Just in general, I don't really judge, but the looking at somebody like Jesus and say, that this guy could have, he could have a possibility of joining a huge network or whatever that he wants to do, and say he seems like a very motivated, very professional person, just like I did with you. I mean, your achievements on UFC. Tell me how many people have done that. It's one per every UFC or two per if they get lucky. You struggle and you fight. You kind of figure out that person has dreams and goals, but always a champion. If the person's giving up on themselves, try to lift them up. If you see the potential in somebody, again, I don't look at the outside. I look at what the inside person, what is being given to me as a message from the person when we talk. That's for me, it's who I am. I want to help them sacrifice. I want to help them get to the next phase.
But what that sounds, obviously you like helping, but why me? Like I want to know why. Boss, I understand that you're a professional, but I want to know
the raw truth. You were in a place that for me, I'm gonna truth. You were in a spot where your humble was not humble. You were in a high horse. You were famous. You were popular. You needed to see you, or people needed to see you at a humbler level as a person, more humble, instead of people thinking, no, I can't take a $13 an hour job. What am I going? I was making millions, and now I'm making $13 an hour. Like, it's humility. everyone has to go through it one phase or another. And if you don't, it's okay. You might still keep moving forward. And you mentioned earlier, you're unhappy. You have millions and you're still unhappy. But you find yourself, somebody, help that person become humble. Jesus Christ was humble. He was God, and yet here he is, humble, washing his disciples' feet, and like, God, you're God. Like, why are you washing my feet? Humble yourself, and then you find that as a particular for yourself. You understand where you were, and now you're running a podcast. Now you're in a position to be again in the millions of dollars, and for what it's worth, I wanted to help that. Like, why is he looking for a job in security? Let's bring him in. Audrey was excited at that. I remember Audrey was excited, and I was just like, holy mother, like Efrain Escudero, like I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then, okay, well, he's going to be an individual. He's going to be a security guard. I'm not going to give him anything. I'm not going to give him. He's going to work his ass for it. And if he wants to do something in his life, he's going to have to work for it.
So let me just tell you guys, I started as a normal guard. I ended up running his whole company.
And we're talking about 80 plus guards per day, 2,600 hours by himself, which was amazing.
So stressful. So stressful. I will go back and post any single day. Yeah. I don't know if it was a punishment, he liked me or didn't like me. God.
It taught you a lot.
Oh, it did.
It taught you a lot.
It taught me a lot. It taught me business management. It taught me people skills. It taught me how to... Biggest thing, no matter what I do in life, no matter what I do, I can go sit at any single table, and I know I bring value to any table I bring. But the biggest thing I always told is, don't bring value. Like, they're not looking for value. Like, you have to value yourself before anybody can value you. If I don't value myself, I cannot. So, with that being said, I thank you for taking that chance on me, for giving me that opportunity, and for one day. My biggest goal, guys, and he probably can tell you, my biggest goal, and everybody would tell me, why are you always working? I always tell them, I want him to go play golf and turn off his phone. I would always tell him. That's what, I would show up to the office every morning and be like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I want him to turn off his phone. Allow me to run. And I mean, he didn't turn off his phone, but he pretty much let me run with the whole company. Right. But biggest thing is just having that vision, having that vision, having that, he mentioned it earlier, he started with one car on the patrol division. His company is ran a lot. Now, how many cars you got?
I have 17 patrol
17 patrol vehicles.
3 in Tucson.
So just imagine how much. Simple math, guys. Simple math. I'm going to pay you $1 per every hit that you do. $1. The more hits that you do, the more patrol hits you do, the more money you will get, right? Biggest picture, he has 16 cars. Just imagine how many patrol hits you can do. Guys, it's a business structure. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just hard work, dedication, sell, get the right people behind. Now,
and let me chime in on that really quick before you go forward. You have to, and like you've done, Jesus and myself, we have to work on ourselves. It's very important that we work on ourselves. We have to be better, and you said the word value. The more valuable you are as a person, as a machine, as a professional, the higher people look at you higher than what you are. Why? Well, you are who you are. At this point, you can do anything in your life. You can do anything in your life, anything, from running a company to starting a company to being a motivator. It's what I see is a motivator, somebody that can help you push forward on doing something. Like, I'm gonna impulse this guy. I'm gonna push this guy to be better. That's who you are at this point. And you were pushed and pushed and pushed. Now you're giving back. You mentioned earlier in the podcast, you push back. Not push back. You give back to the community. And that's huge.
So I don't know if you saw what we did for on the last episode. I haven't sent it to you yet, but if you see the last episode, so we have one of our own, Tyler. He was a retired. Well, not retired. He left the police department after 10 years. One night we go out. I end up leaving early. He lives at leaving. He's driving home from Westgate. All of a sudden, he gets T-boned in his car. Car messes up. Something happens, but that truck has sentimental value to him. So they're looking for a part. All of a sudden, they're struggling to find that part. So he's been without a car for the longest time.
Wow.
So he's been kind of like Ubering, like with his lady, and then I had to do something about it. I had to do something about it.
You jumped in there.
I jumped in there. So I want to create another company called the Homie Garage. The Homie Garage is pretty much a group of friends, kind of all together, and we help each other. Obviously, we pay kind of like a membership, but we use that same money to help each other out.
That's a good idea.
Like, and all of a sudden, we have doctors, we have friends, like I have houses, have motorcycles, bikes, and we put them in all these garages, and all of a sudden, I can borrow them without having to ask, as long as I check them out. We use that same money to use, I just told everybody our business scheme, but it's okay, because it's, for all of us, okay?
Absolutely.
So, and then I tell myself, and then we start buying land, and then we put fourplexes with everybody on there.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to one of my accountant friends as we're coming up with the logistics, and all of a sudden I was like, this is too much. And I see Tyler hurting, and I'm like, we're gonna start it. This is where we started. So everybody out there, this is how it started. I told everybody for the longest time, do not buy me nothing for Christmas. I don't want nothing. If I want something for Christmas, I can buy it. So Tyler gave me a blue jacket. He gave me a blue jacket, and it was surreal, and I was pretty emotional, kind of, because I haven't received a Christmas present in a long time, and I saw him hurting. So he's had a bike. He has he used to have a motorcycle. He got into a motorcycle accident, but he wanted another one. So me and Jesus sat down and we talked to all the guys, and we're buying him a bike. I'm buying him a bike. So sure enough, me and Jesus were looking, and we see this crotch rocket, super nice. We're like, what do you think about this? And I turn back and I show Jesus. Oh yeah, and then I turn back and I show Tyler, and Tyler's like, man, that's badass. If I had it, I'll probably kill myself. We're like, it's great. So Tyler, that is the reason you gotta be careful what you say, because that cost you a garage rocket. Okay. Very. So then all of a sudden, we kind of game plan. We gift him a motorcycle.
Wow.
So you obviously you haven't seen it.
No.
So I will show you. We will send you the podcast so you can see it. But the biggest thing is we like to help, and I've learned that throughout many times. Like you said it over and over. And this is the motorcycle. This is
wow.
the episode. Obviously, guys, I'll show you guys the picture. You guys can see the picture in which
very nice.
I'm gifting him the motorcycle. It took me so much to get him there because he didn't want to go. Like, he still thinks like what? Like, he got off his car because we called his wife, and I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. His wife starts crying. I was like, hey, chill, relax. This is for him. I don't know why you're crying. So then, Ashley, cheers. So then, so he gets off the car and he's like, what are you guys doing? I was like, I give a little speech, and then Tucker gives him a title, and he's like, you guys are joking. You guys are joking. So thanks to everything that you guys did during my darkest moments, through the darkest moments of my life where I felt I was alone, I was sad, and there was that, like, that little thought in my back of my head, there's somebody out there watching over me. There's somebody
Absolutely.
that doesn't want to allow me to fail. And I did what you always told me to do. Sometimes I don't know the way. I don't know which road to take. So I got on the passenger seat. I said, you know what, Lord? Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If not, I don't care. Whatever. And I started seeing things. I'm not a very religious guy, but the moment I did those changes, and I think that you said it yourself as well, is sometimes you don't always have to be in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you don't know why things happen. And I'm gonna relate back to a couple episodes ago. There's three people, one story that really really makes sense to me. And this will explain to you why I was always late. Alright, so this story really signifies a lot about me, especially because obviously we've gone through it, and you have to get out of the driver's seat. The driver's seat, you're going this direction. Something appeals you. You go this direction. Oh, they paint you a very pretty picture over here. Well, there's this story that I read, and there's one person that was on her way to work, and her coffee spilled, and she ended up going back to having to change. There was another guy who missed his Uber, and then ended up being late. And the other one, I don't remember what happened, but there was another one. I believe his alarm didn't go up. Okay, like it didn't go off. When the alarm doesn't go off, he wakes up late, so he's late to work. All those 3 people are still alive today because they were late. They were not on the driver's seat. Because if they would have made it on time, they worked in the 10 towers.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have died. So that to me kind of signifies, get out of the driver's seat, make things happen. So have a vision. Guys, the board, we were talking about it, mentioned it earlier. Earlier we took a break. Every time you walk out here, right now from the side, I want Jesus to take a picture and put it on. I want you guys to see every single day, or every time I look this way, I see a McLaren just parked there, like inside the building.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. And you touched the button on that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy to see a McLaren. I saw a McLaren once on the freeway, not up close where you can actually physically touch it.
But how about you? Like you have those McLarens at your house, meaning the symbol behind it. You have that on an everyday basis.
Yeah. Again, the dream board, if I can tap on the dream board, I know that there's a lot of people that will understand what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of people that don't. The dream board is something that's essential. It's like if you want to, like you said, go to Nebraska, it has to be on the dream board. It has to be in your sight and mind all the time. If it's not, then you've heard the expression out of sight, out of mind. But if you have it in a dream board of where you're going, mapped out, that's the direction you're going to be taking yourself in. Because on a higher purpose, not to get too religious, on a higher purpose of who we are, it's all a subconscious as well as your conscious. You think you want to do something, you believe you're going to do it, but subconscious there's something working in the background. The dream board is you have this thing where you wake up every day that's in front of you. You have no choice but to look at it and say, those are my dreams. This is where I want to be at. And by example, my wife has ours in our room, and when we wake up or we go to sleep, we're staring at this thing. And she has houses. We have 2 houses, about to purchase our 3rd houses. She put all these houses and when we were going to get them. If you were to look at the dream board, look at the houses we have, you'd be like, holy mother. They resemble each other in the aspect of when we got them. She had them via date. The nightclub that she bought, Club Santa Fe, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
She had this thing to be purchased September 1st of last year, 2022, and guess what? The keys were given to her on September 1st, 2022. That's crazy. She had a Jeep on there. We had a Jeep. Was it within the time bearings? A month, maybe a month and a half, and she had a Jeep. Like it's too much to say it's coincidental, and it just gives you that perspective. What we're talking about. If you have the board, if you know where you're going, you're going to get it. And this is something you constantly capitalize on in your conversations is where do you want to be? How do you want to get it? The dream board, if you're looking at it every day, you realize, wow, that is my ambition. Those are my goals. The universe helps you to get it. It really does. But you have to know what you want. You have to know what you want. Because if you're just going around not knowing what you want, well, I know what I want. I want a car, but you look at a different car and I want that car. And it's not what you really want. Put it on the dream board. Get a good 3x3. Stick it on your wall and start printing out pictures of what you want. Stick it on there. Put dates. I want this car by this time. I want this house by this time. I want my business by this time, and I want to be making 2, 3, 8 million, $10 million a year, and I want to be making that by 2025. if that's what you really want, and you're staring at this thing, and you know there's nothing that's going to prevent you from getting it, I mean, how did you get to UFC 8 champion? You were like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to. Well, did your dreams at the end? Were you thinking you were going to be a champion? Honestly,
No.
why?
I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought those guys were monsters.
But you're like, I'm going to get murdered.
Yeah. But I think everybody in itself, you're going to fail. No matter what you do in life, you're going to fail. But it's not really failing. It's like you're going to get it wrong, and then you're going to fix it and keep going.
Keep going.
It's not literally a failure.
Absolutely. You mentioned a travel direction, and Nebraska being your bullboard. Doesn't matter how you get to Nebraska. For me, it's as long as I get to Nebraska, that's my end goal. And so your end goal versus what you're dreaming, your dream board. Again, what do I really? What are my goals? I'm gonna put them on a dream board. I'm gonna stare at these things every day, and then I'm gonna have this inner thing with myself where I realize this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I want, and then chase it. Really knowing that I'm gonna do it. Knowing you went into the UFC going, and then you realized, oh my God, I'm there.
Yep.
And then, oh my God, I'm the champion. I won something. My sacrifice was what you become, and everything that you have today is based on that same philosophy. You had a dream and you went after it. You got it.
Well, yes, yes, I did. Obviously, you did too. Guys, we're gonna cut it short today because we're gonna switch onto Instagram Live. I wanna create a platform for Jose to be able to talk to and generate. Guys, this is the naked raw truth. It's very raw and naked when it comes to my life and what I go through, but I'm not holding back, guys. I told you guys some of my deepest secrets. I'm gonna continue, guys, to tell you guys. Stay positive. Jose, once again, thank you from this podcast, but we will also go live now. So, guys, thank you very much. The Naked Raw Truth will continue to bring you guys great stories from great celebrities, entrepreneurs, and including ourselves, guys. So we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week, but we're on the live now.